What is going on, guys? Chowder out of NC here, going out for a quick little rip. Might head up towards Greensboro, not too sure. But today I wanted to talk about some of the advantages of a Chinese motorcycle like this Hawk DLX here, like the Tao TBR7, the Orion RXB, I believe is what you call it, the Hawk. You've got the Magician, the Bras, you've got the Bashan, you got total all of these bikes. And I just wanted to kind of try and shed some light onto the uses of these bikes and the practicalities of this bike, a stance on reliability for these bikes, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start it. So the person that would buy this bike can really actually be any kind of person. It you know, like, this bike isn't a highway commuter, so if you're planning on going on the highway all the time, this bike's not for you. I'm sorry. You can go on the highway, but it's not where this bike shines at all. So I've been on the highway before, and you know, I'm just winding it out the whole time. It's just not what these bikes are for. But back road cruising, you know, country roads, 55, 60, 65, those are fine with these bikes. But so that gets that out of the way. If you're trying to go super fast, these aren't for you. Now, if you're looking for something that is fun, looking for something practical, something that's pretty reliable that you can just hop on and kind of go whenever, of course, you know, maintenance is everything. Maintenance is everything. You know, sometimes you got to get to fixing something if something's broken. And you know, like with Japanese bikes and you know, American-made bikes and all these other international bikes, you have to think about the fact that whenever you go and get these things serviced, the dealer does this kind of stuff on the bike. With these kind of bikes, you don't have a dealer. So a lot of people get that confused and they start to get frustrated, like, why can't I get my bike fixed? Why do I have to adjust these valves? Why do I have to grease these bolts? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? If you're going to ask yourself those questions, I honestly recommend you pass on these. And that's one of the only times I would recommend passing on one of these, because, you know, I've owned 3 of these bikes now. I don't have the other 2 anymore, but I've got this one now. You know, I put some miles on them. TBR7, I put probably 2,500 miles or so on, and I enjoyed every one of them. You know, I never felt like that bike was going to give up on me. That bike never did give up on me. I had a chain break one time, and you know what a chain is? A chain is a component. It's not the bike there. So it's not like it's not like that was something that could have been prevented, you know. But I went in there, put a good arcade chain on afterwards, and it was good to go. That was the end of that. So yeah, so that was there. I had the Magician. No critical failures on that one at all either. It was just little stuff, you know, like maybe I had to plug in a wire here that wasn't plugged in very well or seated very well before. But you know, it was taken care of, and it was good. It was a great bike. Magician, I didn't put too many miles on yet. It was really cold when I had that one, and then I ended up deciding to let that one go. But yeah, you see on this bike here, I'm cruising back roads now. I'm about to hit 60 miles an hour. It's fine. It is fine. But yeah, so let's go back to people that aren't going to want to buy this bike, and then we talked about people that are. So another good thing for this bike is if you live out in the country, and you know, you can just hop on a bike and go anywhere, this bike is going to take you a whole lot more. You know, Harleys aren't comfortable on gravel. Street bikes aren't comfortable on gravel. This bike is comfortable on gravel and grass and dirt. So you know, it's a dirt bike with a tag on it. And you know, sometimes, well, it's a dirt bike with a tag on it, most likely some off-road and on-road 50-50 tires. But yep, you see, I've seen people supermoto them, and the reason that I enjoy riding these the most is I think it's just because it doesn't feel normal to have a dirt bike on the road. It feels like it feels kind of forbidden. So I'm guessing that that's part of why I enjoy riding these so much. It doesn't feel like what everybody else has got, because it's not. You know, and this bike is always such a conversation starter. Everybody wants to talk about these bikes, and then whenever they see how well it holds up and they see the actual quality that's going into building this bike, you know, it always comes out pretty cool. Everybody's like, you know, that is pretty cool. But yeah, I got this one registered in North Carolina the other day, and it was it was Chongqing was the manufacturer for this one. It was Chongqing International Motorcycle Corporation, I assume. And you know, that was the same thing that Geico I put it in there as. Insurance ended up being $85 a year. Another thing, super cheap insurance. Make sure that you can insure these where you're at though, because I know some people have had some trouble with their insurance companies. I know that Geico does it no problem. I know Progressive does them no problem. And I don't have too much experience outside of those two companies, but you know, it takes 10 minutes to save 15% or more. I'm just playing. It takes about 10 minutes though for you to figure out how much your insurance rate would be. And the other thing is price on these bikes. I guess this video is going everywhere. I'm just trying to talk about the good things. The prices though. This bike was $1,950, less than $2,000 for a capable dual sport. That, you know, once I get to, you know, 2,000, 3,000 miles, it's paid for itself. You know, I've had a blast out of this thing. You think about what it costs you to rent a bike when you go to the trails, and you know, you just add that up. And maintenance too, you know, that's another pro about these bikes as well. You know, you can take it like a double-edged sword. You know, these bikes don't have an oil filter, they have an oil screen. So, you know, you do have to change your oil more often. So, you know, that's more maintenance required on this bike, but it's easy maintenance that saves you a lot of money. And you clean out the screen and just throw another quart of... Whew, I've been using Rotella T4 15W40 in this bike, with it being rated for the wet clutch and everything, and it works great. It's been great oil. They're talking about it losing its I guess JCSO rating. I don't know what that stands for. Sorry guys, I'm not a master at that kind of stuff, but they're talking about it losing that thing. And then I've heard a couple other people saying they've been using it before it got that rating in their bikes, and it works fine. You know, so another pro. Just all pros here, y'all. And the other thing too is, I guess I'll go ahead and shed on something that elephant in the room: Chinese quality. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you a couple of the little things. You know, it's like the metals on this bike, I'm talking about little tiny metals, like these little brackets here. They might not be the highest quality. The bolts, like the bolts that aren't hardened. Now, anywhere that this bike actually counts to be structural, they have hardened bolts in that spot. And they have good quality hardware in those spots. But you see these little spots right here, like this did strip on me. And I've had another one break before, not on this bike, on another one, but you know, that's just kind of an idea of what kind of hardware is being used. But it's not the end of the world, it's fine. You know, you go to the hardware store and get another one. And other stuff like, you know, kickstand. My kickstand's been fine, of course, but sorry y'all, I had to open up my visor for a second to fix my hair. So I'm not a big fan of the kickstand on this bike. I think it's too short, but you know, the other people that ever had trouble, sometimes people have trouble with the kickstand holding up. And you know, not that big of a deal. You go to the parts store, you go online, you find one $20, put it on. You know, by the time you order a part for, you know, a name bike, you spend $100, $200, $300 for stuff. Now, the fact that you can get a new set of tires on this bike for less than $150 absolutely baffles me. Get you some nice Shinkos, depending on what deal you catch. Yeah, I mean, there's so many opportunities here for upgrades too. This bike comes with this digital cluster. And of course these clusters are universal. You can use them on other bikes, but you know, they were already wired up for this kind of thing. You don't have to worry about all that crazy stuff. This cluster came on this bike, but the other clusters, you can buy them from China and wire them up yourself for the for other bikes. They even have them on Amazon in stock for the area. Get them primed to you in a couple days if it's just a universal one, not specific for this bike, but you can find motorcycle clusters like that. And you can get a good deal. $30 and you wire it up and it works. This cluster right here is actually $30 online if you look at it. It's just, the problem is it's not plug and play. There's some wiring that has to go into it if you're not familiar with. You probably don't want to mess with it if you're not familiar with wiring like that. You can get familiar trying on something else before you try it on here, because you know, once you cut up a harness and you're looking through stuff, it can become like you're chicken with your head cut off trying to find where stuff goes. But as long as you're careful, you'll be fine. Nothing to worry about. Yeah, there. Let's see. What else do we got?